And really, this issue of money is what prompted the whole series, because the issue of money is the thing in which those first century Christians did more different than anything else. So much different did they do money that around 380 AD, the emperor at that time, his name was Lucian. His real name, or the name he came to own, was Lucian the Apostate. So you kind of know where he fell on the Christianity thing. He was not friendly towards Christianity. Lucian the Apostate advocated a kind of Greek paganism. And he wanted the Greek pagan religion to have just as much influence as Christianity, because by 360 AD, Christianity had made inroads into literally the whole world. They had little pockets of Christianity. It went from being a marginalized, persecuted to religion to a statewide, recognized, legalized, almost state-sanctioned religion. And Lucian the Apostate wanted to know, how did the Christians do it? How did they become so influential? How did they change the world? And he basically boiled it down to three different things. One was the way that they buried their dead, which is kind of odd. We'll have to look at that a different day. The other was the way that they stood out ethically. They didn't have sex with, just whoever. They protected their purity. But the third way, Lucian said, if the Greek pagan religion is going to flourish like the Christian religion, then we have got to learn how to do money differently. The reason that the Christians are so successful is because of the way that they care for their poor. Lucian said, they do not only take care of their poor, they take care of our poor as well. In other words, the Christians weren't just generous to other Christians, the Christians were generous to the pagans. The Christians were generous to the emperor worshipers. The Christians were generous to the people who didn't think like they did, who didn't believe in what they believed, who didn't live like they lived. And even still, they said, you know what? God has been generous towards us even when we were not deserving, even though he was not obligated. And so in the same way, we want to model that kind of generosity in our culture. And here's what happened. When the Christians began to model generosity in that way, they turned the world upside down. And what if we did the same? When we took up the Easter offering and Easter, we raised $22,000. One Sunday, this church raised $22,000. That's incredible. And in the letter that I wrote to the organizations that we gave, I mentioned this story. I mentioned Lucian, 360 AD. I mentioned how the first Christians were known for their generosity. And I said in that letter, basically, this sizable gift to your organization is our way collectively as a church of saying we want to be known for the same things that they were known for. We want, in this city, the city of Abilene, when someone hears the word church, we want the first thing that comes to their mind not to be hypocrite or judgmental or anti-gay or hater or whatever. We want the first thing that comes to their mind when they hear the word church to be generous, compassionate, kind, gracious. We want to be known for the same things that Jesus was known for. We want to be known for what those first century Christians were known for. And so here's this gift. Now that's just one Sunday. That's just one step. That's a little step. What if every single follower of Jesus in the city of Abilene, and just to shrink it down, what if every single follower of Jesus in Broadview Baptist Church subverted money, began to do money differently? Do you think that we could change the city? I think we could. Maybe not even the city, maybe the big country, perhaps start a movement that changes the world. And so how do we do it? How do we subvert money?